This is my 1998 Chevrolet K1500, and this is a 7,320 foot mountain. This truck hasn't been off-roading in about 5 years, so today we're gonna put it to the test and attempt to climb to the top of that mountain. So like I said, this is my 1998 Chevrolet K1500. I wanted to bring y'all here today to not only show you this amazing area we're in, but to tell you the story about this pickup truck. This truck is where it started for Ash and I, in the sense of the off-roading, the 4x4 and the backcountry thing. It all started with this truck. I've owned this truck almost as long as I've been with Ashley. Ashley and I are going on a decade this year, and I've owned this truck for going on 9 years. This truck means a ton to me, and I felt like it just deserved its own YouTube video. I've never shown it here on the channel before, so today's the day. Today I'm out here with just myself and Bella, and the last time we camped with this truck, probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, was with Bella, Ash, and I. So I felt like Bella was the one who deserved to come camping this weekend. For old time's sakes, I guess. So as we make our way through this canyon and up the mountain, I'm gonna tell you all about this old pickup truck. So I got this truck back in 2015. It was my first 4x4, and within the first 6 months, I believe, I had it lifted on a cheap rough country 6-inch lift on some 35-inch tires, and it was, at the time, my dream truck. My friends and I had a blast in it. We went out wheeling every single weekend with a big group of people, and we had an absolutely great time. You miss your sisters, or are you on vacation? What? Good girl, huh? She's happy to be in the truck and be all alone without the other 2 pups. Also, 6 months into owning this truck, I blew up the engine. One of the main bearings spun, and the result was a really bad knock. So once it got really bad, I had to actually park the truck because it was so embarrassing to drive around in. At the time, I was right out of high school. I wasn't making much money. I was just working part-time, like 20 to 30 hours a week. At the time, I was saving up for college, and I literally remember I had like $800 or $850 to my name. So I either had to use that $850 to save this truck and put a new motor in it, or I had to use it as a down payment for probably a newer truck. After some debate, probably not too much, I decided to buy a junkyard motor for this. We freshened it up, and with the $850, I was able to put this thing back on the road. It was kind of a tough decision because up until that time, I had never really done anything to any vehicles. So I had to go from doing nothing to putting a motor in a truck. But it definitely was the right decision because with the new motor, we were able to have a lot more fun with this truck. Bella, you wanna keep going? Are you tired? Good girl. So check out this. This is crazy. We're following this dirt road. It's a very, very easy road so far through this canyon, and it follows this wash. There's no water in this right now, but come spring, there will be tons and tons of water in here. So let's continue on the way. The area we're exploring today is part of the Bookcliff mountain range. The Bookcliffs are a vast escarpment stretching over 200 miles, and they're actually the longest continuous escarpment in the entire world, starting near Palisade in western Colorado and ending near Castlegate, Utah in the west. It's truly a sight to see. This 2,000-foot towering wall separates the rugged mountain landscape above from the vast and arid desert landscape below. Traders traveling on the Old Spanish Trail passed by the Bookcliffs as early as the 1820s, but it wasn't until 1853 when the name Book Mountains was first used. The river enters this valley through a canyon or immense gorge, which separated the Elk Mountains on the east from the Roan or Book Mountains to the west, and bending from its southern course unites with the Grand River just below us. Lieutenant Edward Beckwith, September 19, 1853. This is the first recorded use of the name Book Mountains. It's common knowledge today that these mountains get their name from their resemblance to books on a shelf. The Grand River Valley is limited on the north by the Roan or Bookcliffs. The first name has been given to them for their prevailing color. The second from the characteristic shape of the cliff, which with its overhanging crest and slight talus bears considerable resemblance to the edge of a bound book. Henry Gannett, 1877. There are a number of trails that wind through these amazing cliffs, and this is just one of them. We'll definitely be back here to explore as much of this beautiful and historic mountain range as possible, but for now, let's just try to make it to the end of this trail and to the top of this mountain. So I drove the truck for the next couple of years with the refurbished motor, the cheap rough country lift, and the 35s. And then it came to the point where I had to make another decision whether or not I was gonna fix the truck or keep the truck. No, that don't make no sense. That's the same thing. Fix the truck or get rid of the truck. With the rough country lift in the 35s, I was going through steering components like tie rods, I was going through wheel bearings, ball joints, like it was nobody's business. The suspension that comes on these trucks from the factory is called independent front suspension, or IFS. IFS is a really good suspension. It's designed to ride really smooth, and that's exactly what it does. But once you get to lifting it and abusing it off-road, it doesn't hold up all that great. Around this time is when I heard about solid axle swapping. And I came to the decision that that is exactly what I wanted to do to my truck. And if I was gonna do it, I was gonna go all out and do it right, which meant I didn't want to mess around with 3/4 ton axles. I wanted to jump right to the 1 tons, the Dana 60 and the 14 bolt. At the time, I still was only working part-time, and I was in school at this point. I was in technical school. I was working about 20 to 30 hours a week, which meant not that big of a paycheck. So I sat down and decided to do this swap. I needed roughly $5 grand. So for the next year and a half, I took $250 out of each paycheck, set it aside, and that was gonna go towards the 1 ton swap. I don't know if that math adds up, but those are the numbers I remember. So after about a year and a half, I had the $5,000. I went and bought my 2 axles. I bought every single part and component I would need. Within, I believe, 2 weekends, I had this truck solid axle swapped. So this is a Dana 60 Kingpin axle out of a 1990 F350. I found this, I believe, on Craigslist. Got it for about $450, which at the time was a really good deal. I was so fed up with ball joints at the time. That's why I went with the Kingpin axle, and I will never look back. This is my favorite axle of all. I put this under here with off-road design brackets. We got some 1 ton steering, which isn't as old as the axle. I actually had stock steering up until a few months ago, actually. We got a Fox steering stabilizer. I went through it, did all bearings and seals and whatnot, but it's basically a stock axle. It's got 410s in it. It's open diff, nothing too crazy. And I used 52-inch K5 Blazer leaf springs to put the axle under here. So we couldn't just leave the little 10 bolt that was back here. We had to find an axle that would match the front, so it could be, you know, a legit 1 ton swap. So we bought this. This is a 14 bolt full floating rear axle. This, once again, this is one of my favorite axles. This thing is an absolute beast. And this one in particular is out of a 1996 K1500, so a Chevy. So I got these axles swapped into the truck, and there was no looking back. I was finally happy where the truck was. While I was saving up for the axle swap, I remember seeing, probably on Instagram, a picture of a blue TJ on a beach. It had some massive tires, and the tread pattern on the tires was like I'd never seen before. I saved that photo, and I said once I'm done with the axle swap in this truck, I was going to find out what those tires were, and I was gonna get them for my truck. Those tires were Goodyear MTRs. They unfortunately don't make them anymore, as far as I know. I try to find them all the time, and you just can't find them new anymore. I got the MTRs and 37s for the truck, brand new, and it was the best thing I ever did for the truck. Nowadays, I think a 40 would look much better on this, and I think these 37s will look really good on the green Jeep, but they just don't make MTRs anymore. I can't find them anywhere brand new, so I'm pretty sure they're discontinued. So if you know anyone who's been holding on to brand new MTRs for like the past 5 years that are 40-inch, let me know, I'll come buy them. So check this out, we gained a lot of elevation We're on the edge of the Garfield Mesa, but we can kind of see the valley down over here, but we still got a ways to go. I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. This truck is by far my favorite vehicle I have ever owned. It's not fast, it's not efficient. Trust me, a Camry would save me a lot of money. And it certainly is not the best looking vehicle at the moment, I'm well aware of that. But the memories I've made with this truck and the things I've learned from it over the past almost 9 years outweighs all of that by far. 9 years. That's insane. It feels like yesterday my dad and I were driving to go pick this up. The Jeep may take priority nowadays. It's our go-to vehicle for off-roading and just travel and adventure in general. I mean, it's literally taken us across the entire country. It gets all the money all the time, but whenever I need it, whenever the Jeep is down, whenever the Jeep needs a break, this old entire truck is there. I never wanted to be a Jeep guy, but I guess some things just changed. Somewhere along the way, this truck got pushed aside for bigger and better things. But one thing's for sure, I am so happy I'm still holding on to it. And I hope that one day I can build it to what I always imagined it to be. Whenever we leave for a faraway adventure in the Jeep, we are more than excited. But something in the back of my mind makes me wonder what this truck could have been and the places it could have gone if it wasn't for the Jeep. Wow. We made it here just in time for sunset. This is crazy. Wow. You can see right in the distance, right here, you probably can't see it on the camera, but there's like some mountains that make up the valley right here, and then beyond that is the LaSalle Mountains, I'm pretty sure, right over there. Can't see it from here, but we got the mesa over here, the Grand Mesa, and then you got the San Juans way down there. And this is crazy, this is freaking nuts. We have a perfect day for this too. This is awesome. According to the weather app, this is the last warm, like really warm day here in the Grand Valley. It was around 70, 75 today, but after today, it's gonna start being like 55 and it's gonna slowly keep dropping. The truck did great. The trail definitely got a little skinnier towards the end here. Got a lot of these little tiny trees that, you know, just scratch up the truck, but I was able to maneuver through the trees well enough where there's not too many new scratches. So I was hoping that there was going to be some place to camp right up here on the overlook. There wasn't anything on Trails Off-Road or Onyx that said there was going to be, and there's not. So we're gonna have to turn around here and make our way back to a campsite that we passed way back there. There was one campsite that looked really nice, but there was literally a grave at it. There was a headstone there. I'm not sure if that's from a person, maybe from a dog or something. I don't know if I want to camp there, so maybe we can take one of the side trails and find something on there. I'm really happy with the Chevy though. She did really good on this trip. We got a leak right here. This is probably power steering. Yeah, you can see it right here. That is not new, but hopefully it doesn't get any worse. So I just found camp. I've been driving around for quite a while. I checked out a few different offshoots and I found this one that I really like. We got a nice fire pit right here. That was kind of the problem with the other sites. They were in really nice locations from what I could tell in the dark, but there was no fire pits. Want to eat, Belly? No, sit, speak. You know what to do. You know what to do. What? Good girl. There you go, girl. Free dog. So I just went and put on my Backcountry Beagles hoodie, not because it's cold out right now, but because I'm wearing this stupid Patriots shirt that I've been wearing all day. I meant to change this before I left the house earlier and put on something else. I can't believe I've been wearing this all day. I probably just lost a bunch of viewers. Anyways, a wise man once said that budget overlanding, and I would consider what we did today budget overlanding doesn't necessarily mean cheap. It just means within your budget. Now I say that because of what I'm about to show you. Today for dinner, this was in budget. We're gonna be making SpaghettiOs, the original SpaghettiOs. Can't go wrong there. And then I also brought, some whole kettle corn. I don't know if these two things go together all that great, but I was really hungry when I was at the supermarket and both of these looked really good. So like I said, not necessarily cheap, just within your budget. And for today, these were definitely in the budget. Maybe in your budget is making some ribeye steaks every time you go camping. That's totally cool. We do that every once in a while because, like I said, it's in the budget. But today, we're going with these. It's like $1.20 a piece. You can't go wrong with that. Now, the wise man who said that was Benji from Budget Overlanding. I just wanted to give him a little shout out because I thought of him as I was looking at those in the supermarket. Budget Overlanding is a podcast with the host Benji. I bring him up also because about a month and a half, 2 months ago, he had Ashley and I on the podcast. He talks to a lot of YouTubers, big or small. That's kind of why he had Ashley and I on there. And we just talked about our travels, talked about the Jeeps, the dogs, that sort of thing. It was really fun, and you guys should definitely check it out wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you're watching this, Benji, you're doing a great job. Anyways, while the night is still young, let's make these SpaghettiOs. Maybe I should have budgeted for steak. Sit. No, sit. What? Speak. What? Okay. Bella. Good girl. As always, last night was a great night. It was really warm too. I had a thermometer with me, but I didn't even check it. But if I had to guess, it was probably around 50 degrees, maybe high 40s if anything. I didn't bring the diesel heater or the Mr. Buddy, but this setup works really well actually for keeping me warm. So this is where we slept. We slept in the back of the truck last night, and this setup is actually really nice. I really like it. We got a twin air mattress under there. Then on top of that, we have one of the sleeping bags unrolled. We have the actual sleeping bag I slept in, and then just 2 blankets. And then Bella jumps in the sleeping bag with me, and she keeps keeps me really warm. I put this sleeping bag unrolled on top of the air mattress first before putting the sleeping bag that I sleep in, because if you ever slept on an air mattress when it's cold, the cold air comes right through the air mattress and hits you right away. So this setup has worked really well for me. That sleeping bag kind of prevents that cold air from coming at you. We got plenty of the room on the side here to put my gear and whatnot. This thing locks from the inside as well, so it's definitely a plus. So let's talk about the truck again. I think I should address the issue, I guess it's an issue, of it being like 4 different colors. So once this thing got the solid axle swap and whatnot, I drove it for many, many years. This was always my daily. And then we got the Jeeps. We got the red Jeep and the green Jeep that we have today. And when I got back from technical school, all of our time and money went to those Jeeps. We just really wanted to build our dream Jeeps. So this truck was still my daily, but the only money and time it got was, you know, maintenance items, that sort of thing. Now, when we moved to Colorado, this truck stayed there. You know, we came to Colorado with the Jeeps. This truck stayed 2,200 miles away, parked for about a year. I was able to tow my red Jeep here. We drove the green Jeep here, and it was going to be a lot of money to have the truck shipped here. I wasn't really comfortable with driving it here at the point because it had been sitting for about a year. I could have sold the truck and I could have started with something new here in Colorado. But you know, I just can't let this truck slip out of my fingers. So I came up with the money, and after a year, I had the truck shipped to Colorado. Once it got here, I was really, really happy, but its many, many winters back in New England started to show. The front fenders started to rot through right at the wheel well, and the bed supports, all the bed rails that go across from frame to frame, they were completely gone. So I found this really, really clean and cheap bed that was actually only a mile away from my house, and I went and picked that up. I think this was literally $300 for the bed and the tailgate. It is the cleanest bed you will find. There's like one dent here and then like a few on the other side. Those can definitely be pulled out, no problem though. For the fenders, same thing. I think I spent $100 on those front fenders. They just got to be painted. They're very, very clean Colorado fenders. The bed cap, it had the bed cap. The bed cap's always been blue, but hopefully that'll be black one day too. So my future plans for this truck, I want to do more of this. This is so cool. Overlanding in a full-size vehicle. You have tons of room, and this truck just drives so much better than the Jeeps. And it's so much more roomier. In the Jeeps, you just kind of feel cramped a little bit. I like that you have a bed on this and we can just kind of throw all our junk in the back, and you don't have to have anything in the cab as well. Maybe once it's painted, we can do a few other things to it. We can finally put 40s on it maybe, and just take some longer trips in this thing. I think it'd be a lot of fun. As for right now, she's gonna stay just how she is. Right now, she's actually my daily driver since the red Jeep is taken apart. In the green Jeep, we had some problems with the green Jeep, but we're not gonna get into that in this video. Let's just say we had to order quite a bit of parts, and we're gonna be doing some work in separate videos on the green Jeep. As for this location, we're camped at a really nice spot. You can see all the Bookcliffs right behind us. Those are the taller ones. We're actually on top of some right now, and then you can kind of see where it ends right over here, and then that's the valley. From here, you can see the other side of the valley, and you can see the LaSalle Mountains poking up from the top over there. Pretty crazy. You can see all the snow on them actually. I'm gonna get packed up here shortly. There's really not much to do with this setup. I'm gonna leave the blankets back here. I'll take care of those when I get home. Gonna put a few boxes back there, and we should be ready to go. So we're back at the base of the mountain where we started. That was a really fun trip. We saw a lot of really amazing things, and I hope I did my truck a little bit of justice with this video. We got a lot to do in the next couple of weeks. We got to fix the green Cherokee. You'll see what I mean once that video comes out. There's gonna be a lot of in the shop content. We're gonna try to get that thing done as soon as possible so we can hit the trails in the snow this winter. We had a trip planned up to Washington, so hopefully we can still make that happen. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by 2024. As always, we appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you out on the trail, and we'll see you next time. Any place we wander to, any season we go through, Ellie, you're back. How you doing? The Jeeps are still our main priority though. Look at Bella. Bella's like the freaking director over here. Bella. What the heck, Bella?